We've talked a lot about the 2026 Energetic County Fair, and we're continuing the conversation today with one of the stars of the show, Mr. John Foster, who has already captured the hearts of many across his season on American Idol, and now he's joining us here via Zoom. Thanks so much, John, for making the time to join us.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
So tell me a little bit about your life these days. I mean, it's probably changed a lot since you were the runner-up on American Idol in 2025, but you seem to be touring. You got the Grand Ole Opry you've been at. Tell me a little bit about what you've been up to.
Yeah, man, I really have, there's that old saying, living the dream. It really is true. I'm really living in my own dream. And to think about it, I thank God for it every day. There's been many, many years I wanted to do this. Many, many years I wanted to. And when I say this, of course, I mean touring nationally and in some cases, in very few cases, but in some internationally. Coming up to see y'all in Canada has been a big bucket list for me, and so has been on my bucket list, I should say. And so I'm really glad to be coming up and seeing y'all. But yeah, it's really just been a lot of shows, of course. But then we have the shows on the weekends and sometimes on the weekdays. But then the rest of the time is spent doing what people don't see behind the scenes, right? Which is wonderful things like Zoom calls and phone calls and emails and great things that make the rest of the ship run, right? Because you can't do one and not do the other. They're intertwined.
Yep, I agree. I was going to say I agree exactly with your analysis of that. Yeah.
Yes. And one thing that has helped me, just to continue to answer your question further, is I have really learned to love the other side of the music business. I really learn to love the meetings and all of the stuff that goes on behind the scenes. I guess it's because I love the actual music so much that anything that has to do with furthering that music, I love too.
So you're talking about the bucket list coming to Canada. I assume Fort St. John will be the furthest north you've probably ever gone, but tell me a little bit about the excitement of coming to a music festival in northern British Columbia.
Yeah, so I mean, one of the most special things that I'm able to do. So I'm from a small town called Addis, Louisiana. It's right west of Baton Rouge. We're a city of maybe 5,000 people. And when I was growing up, my parents never traveled for work or anything. My dad runs our family Cajun food store. And we had plenty of vacations. Don't get me wrong. I was a very blessed kid. But those vacations usually consisted of driving 5 hours or so east to the beach, to the Emerald Coast. Every now and then we would go to somewhere like Pigeon Forge, Tennessee. We did go to one trip to Jackson Hole, Wyoming, basically, but that's it. My whole point is we never really traveled that much. We just weren't really a traveling kind of family. And so it's been really, really special for me to go around the country and even to can't wait to come to y'all and neighbors to the north, but to see the different ways of life that people have, to see the different people, to visit these different towns that I probably never would have gone to if it weren't for music.
20 years old, traveling the world, performing country music. I did want to go back to your audition on American Idol, though, John, because I think this is an iconic moment. Not every audition goes this way. You walk in, you give the judges some Cajun food, perform a song, an Alan Jackson song, and then they ask you to perform another one. I got to ask, what was running through your mind before you got to do the duet with Luke Bryan?
Oh, goodness, man. I never expected that, and I never had that. I never had that in the cards, I should say, and that song I'm saying. Basically, the way this went on, the way that happened, and the reason that I didn't have anything prepared is that I had another song prepared. I did my first song, and they always tell you to have at least one more prepared. The problem with that being, the song that I had prepared was an emotional story type song and not a song that shows off your voice.
And that's what
Carrie Underwood asked me exactly. Carrie Underwood asked me for a song that showed off my voice. So I'm sitting there and I just totally went into shock because I'm thinking I have nothing prepared. I have nothing prepared that shows off my voice. But luckily enough for me, a couple hours before this, in the lobby of the hotel that we were filming at, I was sitting there with my uncle, who taught me my first four chords on guitar, who is still my bassist in my band, who will be coming with me to Canada. He was sitting there and he just changed out one of my strings on my guitar. And he was just fiddling around. He was just kind of bending the strings back in place. And he started singing the first words to the song that I ended up doing, which is Goodbye Time by Conway Twitty. And so that being, when we kind of jammed a little bit together with that song. And so that song being on the top of my head, I was like, well, that sure does show off my voice, I guess. And so I sang that one. And Luke obviously loved it. And it worked out.
I like that. Well, you're a great storyteller, John. I've loved watching some clips of you at the Grand Ole Opry. And folks, you're in for a real treat when it comes to Fort St. John on July 17th. That's this Friday night. Get your tickets because this is going to be a show for the ages. Of course, he's only in town for one night, and then he's going back to the Grand Ole Opry on July 20th. So that just puts it in perspective for his tour and schedule. So thank you so much for making the time to chat with us, John, and look forward to watching your rise to fame here because I think you got something really, really special, and it's been a joy to talk to you.
Of course. Well, thank you so much, and it's been great to talk to you too.
We're looking forward to seeing you here in Northern British Columbia, folks. John Foster.